Welcome to the Worship Keys YouTube channel. My name is Carson Bruce. So glad you're here. We talk all things music theory, gear, industry, and ministry for your worship keys playing. If this episode is beneficial for you or you have any questions as you continue to watch, feel free to comment below, and I'd love to hear any feedback that you have along the way. So let's get into today's episode. So excited to have Andrés Páez.
Yes, sir.
You have to forgive me.
Yeah,
man.
no, you're good.
I was like Andrés.
No, Andrés.
Yeah, dude, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. It's an honor.
All the
Truly.
way originally from Spain, but now you live in Texas. You spend a lot of time in Florida. Your family's in Florida. Tell us the whole story, man. How did you get from Spain to Florida to Texas? And right now we're recording here in Nashville, Tennessee, man. And so excited to have you on the Worship Keys podcast. You're with your MD with Abundant Church.
Abundant Church, yes.
In El Paso, Texas. El Paso, Texas. And man, love your content online.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to have you, man.
It's the honor's all mine. I promise you.
Well, dude, tell us about growing up. How did you learn the keys? How did you come to know the Lord? And how did you end up in your position now full-time at a church doing keys in MD world?
Yeah, for sure. I was born and raised in Spain. My parents are pastors, both of them through Assemblies of God. So they had a church in a little island. It's where I'm from. Gran Canaria is the name of the place. So I grew up in church every single day. Like I was at church. I run the worship team. It was a small church, like 75 people to 100 people. Nothing crazy. But I was always passionate about worship and like playing. So my first love was the drums.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fun.
I'm a drummer at heart. I'm not a good one, but I mean, I can do like a few things here and there if needed. Like I always say, I can save the day if necessary. But yeah, so I started playing the drums. It was really fun. I grew up, obviously, like around musicians. There wasn't many of us at the church, but enough where like I could like ask a few questions about guitar or about the bass or about like the piano. Yeah. But it was a small church, so like we didn't have like a big production either. Like most Sundays, it was like acoustic drums and the Holy Spirit.
Right. Acoustic drums, the Holy Spirit. That's what you need right there.
Yeah. That's how I grew up. Eventually, obviously, things got a little more complicated in Spain financially. So my parents decided that it was not necessarily for them, but for me and my siblings. I'm one out of four. I'm the third one. They decided that it was best for us to move out of Spain. And they decided to go to Denmark, in northern Europe.
Nice.
We were there for about 4 months.
Okay.
But it didn't really work out because Danish is a very hard language to learn.
Oh, I bet.
And my parents thought that with little English that they knew, they could get around and like get a job, but that wasn't the case.
Okay.
So then God, crazy things happened in the back and like opened a door for us to move to Florida.
Awesome, man.
And then that's how we ended up in the U.S.
Great.
After 4 months in Denmark. We ended up here in Florida. And then from there, we started going to this church called Northside Baptist Church. It's a Spanish church in Miami.
Awesome.
And that's when I got introduced to Ableton.
Awesome, man.
And I just fell in love with him, and I thought it was so cool. It was something new to me because I have never heard of like a band playing with a click or like with backing tracks. The level of musicianship of that church was like also like, to me, was like off the roof.
Right.
I'm like, you guys practice? Because in our church, like I told you, like you would just showed up and like you played the three songs that you knew. And you call it a Sunday. So I was like, well, you guys learn parts and you guys like have all these things, and like I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, man.
So I got really into the tracks part of it. I was still playing drums, and then we moved to a town called Fort Myers. Okay. And in there, they already had like a drummer. Okay. It went back to the same vibes of like my parents' church, like not a lot of practice, no tracks, no anything. Right. But I knew that I wanted to keep going with what I had learned at the church I was just at. Yes, sir. So I pick up the keys, which at this point is about like 7 years ago. Okay. I picked up the keys because they already have plenty of drummers.
So you've only been playing keys for 7 years?
About 7, 8 years. I mean, like, awesome. Since I was a kid, I knew, like, C major, like
right.
2-3 chords.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like 7 years ago that like I actually like got to study. I remember I saw this video on YouTube called I thought it was like a piano for dummies, I think it was called.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was a guy just basically saying like, if you want to sound like a pro, all you have to do is play these 4 chords,
right,
and play any Y keys.
Right.
And he will show.
I think that guy is still on YouTube.
Yeah,
doing his thing.
probably. But I remember it was like he showed A minor,
Yeah.
F, C, and G.
Yeah.
And at the time, I started trying, and I'm like, it was like magic to me. I'm like, how is this working?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a very curious person by nature.
Yeah, dude.
So I was like, how is it that by playing these 4 chords, I can play any Y key and like virtually sound mostly good, like
right,
90% of the time.
Yes.
So I was very like curious about that. So I went more in depth into like how that was working. So that's how I got introduced to scales.
Okay.
Major scales. I was like, oh,
that's awesome.
this makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Because also growing up, like some people at my church would like pick up a song and just play the chords by ear. I'm like, how do you do that? There's like a million chords you can pick for them.
Right.
I thought they would pick like random chords. So when I got introduced to scales, that's when I learned, oh, you're just picking the 6 chords that you have in that scale.
Right.
So that things just started clicking in my head, like,
Absolutely.
oh my God, like this makes so much sense. So then I started practicing, like, okay, if I can do this in the Y keys, what would it look like to do it in? That means the key of C. What would it look like to do in the key of F or G or D or
sir.
E? So I started like learning my major scales.
Absolutely.
And I truly fell in love with the piano. Like I love the way it sounds. I think it's such a beautiful instrument.
Yes, sir.
So I decided I wanted to take it a little more serious. And then with my little knowledge of Ableton and like that discover passion for keys, at the church I was at, they were not using tracks. They were not using anything really. So I was like, there's got to be a way for my piano to sound bigger,
right,
without tracks.
Absolutely.
So that's when I discovered Main Stage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I discovered the Sunday keys.
Yes, yeah, great.
Great resources. So I started buying like their specific patches for specific songs that we would do at my church. And I just remember like being so like mind blown about like the whole like music worship industry. I'm like, oh my God, there's a bunch of guys like doing all this crazy stuff, and like,
absolutely,
I've never heard of this, you know?
For sure.
Like I said, like we would just show up and do like our 3 songs that we knew.
Right.
So I got very passionate about it, and I started like really digging into piano and stuff like that. And eventually, after high school, I didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be a computer engineer.
Oh, cool, man.
But then I discovered that you had to do a lot of math.
Right.
I was like, that's not for me. It's not for me. But my family kind of like still told me that it would be nice if you would still go to college, even if you do whatever you want, but like get a degree or something. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't convinced on anything really. So after like 2.5 years of like just working, traveling, having fun.
Yeah.
You know, God opened a door for me to go to Southeastern University.
That's awesome.
And at the time I didn't really like knew the purpose of it.
Right.
But I went there, and God was gracious enough to give me a spot on SEU Worship, where I learned a lot from really, really good people, very talented people. Yes, sir. And that's when I really like picked up like the more like, I don't want to say professional, but the more advanced part of like doing tracks and practicing your parts and MDing.
Yes, sir. And
stuff like that. While I was in my freshman year, sophomore years, I was able to get a few part-time jobs as MDs at different local churches. Awesome. Because I've always, again, my parents are pastors, and our church was really small. Mm-hmm. So there's always been like a big passion for me for the local church.
Yeah. Totally.
So that's where like I feel like I thrive, like in a church with volunteers, helping teams and stuff like that. It's what I'm really like passionate about, creating systems. So I got those 2 part-time jobs, and towards the end of my college career, I got married to my beautiful wife, Sophie, and then got open an opportunity in El Paso, Texas to go full-time into MDing. So
and congratulations.
Thank you. That's
and
where I am right now.
You have a baby that was born last year, so she's about, or he's about 1 year old.
Andres, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The fourth.
The fourth.
Dude,
Yeah. Wow.
It's a whole dynasty.
That is exciting, man. Wow. I'm sure another musician in the making, right?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I always say that, like, I don't want to put the pressure to him that if he wants to play music, I would encourage it.
Yes.
But if he doesn't, like, I wouldn't be hurt or anything.
There you go.
So it's good.
Wow, man. And you have another one on the way?
We do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, man, congratulations. That's
Thank
so
you,
great.
man.
What a cool story, man. Starting in Spain, Denmark, going to Southeastern University in Florida, SEU, which I love SEU. Don't y'all love SEU?
Yeah, they're great.
If anyone's listening from that area, just let us know in the comments. If you're listening on podcast, glad you're there. Leave a review on Apple. But if you're watching via YouTube, I'm actually curious where people are watching, bro, because I know we have people, a few people from Canada, some people from Brazil, a lot of people from Southeast, in the United States. But let me know where you're listening from, whether that be Nashville, Birmingham, Alabama, Dallas, Texas, El Paso, Texas, Florida
Spain.
area. Spain? Yeah, just let us know where you're listening from, because it's always just interesting to know where people are listening. And, dude, all the way from Texas, I can't believe that you're here. So you're actually with your friend, Ant.
Yes, sir.
And Ant's a youth pastor, Anthony.
Yes.
And we just had some lunch earlier. Great guy, man. Great heart for God. And it's really cool that you guys are here. So you guys, did you just play at a youth camp, or did both of y'all just do something?
He played a few days.
Okay.
I did the whole thing.
Okay.
He was playing keys too with us.
Awesome, man.
Just for fun with a group of friends.
Tell us about the camp, man. How was the camp experience?
It was great. It was really cool. We got to play. It wasn't like necessarily like a specific band. It was just like a few guys that came together.
Yeah.
My friend Maya, she's the one that put us all together. Great leader, great vocalist. Brendan, also another great vocalist. Shout out to them. They put us all together. A 4-piece band's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But with my buddy Dawson and Brendan playing drums.
Yeah.
And then a guy that I just met named Griffin on bass. Yeah. And it was really cool. We got there on Monday. And at first, like, we haven't played with each other in a long time. Yeah. We haven't really led worship with each other, like vocalist and backline. Yeah. So like we were like a little bit shy. But then Tuesday after the morning session, we had like a really honest conversation about like, hey guys, remember we're not here just for a paycheck or like whatever it is that we're here. We're here to like not just lead people into worship, but also to worship ourselves. Yeah. So we had a very honest conversation within the group, and I think that just clicked something within us to like actually step into with confidence on stage. Hey, like we're here to potentially change lives, like you don't know who's listening.
100%.
So this is important for the kids, even though we're tired, like getting here was crazy. Right. We haven't played with each other, but right now we need to come together and make the main thing, which is to worship Jesus. So I think after that conversation, it opened a big door for everyone to like be more vulnerable, to speak up, to feel comfortable with each other.
Right.
So then after that, I feel like we saw like truly the hand of God in the camp. Worship was awesome, but I think it wasn't awesome because of us. Obviously, like I think like collectively we decided to make room for Jesus, and that made the whole difference.
Praise God, man. That's awesome. Well, dude, welcome to the Worship Keys podcast, the Worship Keys community. We just share lots of great tips on all things keys, tracks, MD, and you do a great job at MDing, man. So
thank you, man.
For this episode, we really want to get your thoughts on sound design, track swirled, and MD, all of it that you have obviously spent a lot of years practicing and doing, and now you're full-time at Abundant Church in El Paso, Texas. So let me ask a few questions. We are going to hear you play. Yeah. And we're going to hear some track stuff. We're going to see inside your Ableton world. So y'all stick around for that. It's coming up. Or you can just skip ahead to that. If you don't want to hear this, just skip ahead.
Right. Feel free.
Yeah. But what are your best advice for MDs in today's modern church worship culture? What's your best tips for MDs? Music directors, we should say. Someone asked in another episode, what does MD mean? We forgot to intro it again. Yeah. MD, music director as the subject, or music directing as the verb. But yeah, man, what's your best advice for MDs?
I think from my perspective, the most important thing as a music director that you need to keep always present is that you're not there to like push your agenda or like your own arrangements or like your own, which I mean, like, I love when like I give an idea and we do it, but ultimately we're there to first do worship, and second, in the professional part of it, the job side of it, we're there to make sure that the vision of your worship leader, it's being casted properly into the set.
Right,
so, like,
right.
Transitions wise, arrangements, like you want to be faithful to the style of whoever's leading worship. So I think like that's the main, like the most important part as an MD, to like know who you're leading with. And then know how you're leading the band, you know, because like they're following you,
right?
But ultimately we're all following the worship leader. So make sure that like you have a good relationship, that you trust each other, and that all that it's present while you're playing. It's not just like, oh yeah, let's do a drum break here because I feel like it. You know?
Right.
You have to make sure that like that's in tune with like what the Holy Spirit and the worship leader are like doing in the moment.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
What's the most challenging part that you found with playing keys, running tracks, and MDing? Because it's one thing to play keys, it's one thing to play keys and run the tracks, and then it's another thing to run keys, do the tracks, and MD. Of course, usually the person firing the track is the person MDing as well, because it makes sense. Hey guys, we're about to start. Who else? You know, here we go. Intro 2, 3, 4. But how is it multitasking like that? What's the best advice for that?
I think the best advice I can give for that kind of situations is to be super comfortable with everything you're doing. I mean, I've heard a lot of times that multitasking is not really like a thing. Like you do one task and then you do the other.
Yeah.
And you try to do it simultaneously, but your brain actively switches between the two. So the more comfortable you are with your equipment, the better you're going to be at doing it. So for example, even MDing and just playing without the tracks involved, if there's a part that's like really complicated, you usually tend to talk less because you're like locked into what you're playing.
Right.
And vice versa. And there's a part that you need to address the band a little bit more, then you simplify a little bit more what you're saying.
Yeah.
So same thing for Ableton. I try to simplify my workflow as much as I can.
Absolutely.
Do the work pre being on stage, and then being as comfortable with my equipment as much as I can. So if something happens in service, I don't have to remember how to do things. Like I'm fully confident. Like if I press this button, this is gonna happen.
Right.
I cannot be double guessing. Like, oh, is this gonna work? Like, you know, like I have to be confident that like what I'm doing, it's gonna work the way I set it up to work with.
100%.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn Ableton?
I cannot really tell you like a specific like a year, because I feel like it's been like a process.
Of course.
But I would say since I started college is when I really started like working with Ableton.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't until like later on in college that I started actually like messing with like the arrangement view.
Yeah.
Because I used to do things in session view.
Okay.
So I was just like drag every track individually, press play, and call it a day. But in the past 2 years is when I really gotten into like, oh, let me go into arrangement and like let's chop this section, like let's do this, like let's transitions, let's do a fade in, a fade out, whatever. So
cool, man. Because I want people to hear that, because Ableton is a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a process, like you said. You've been learning it since college and after college, and it's been 4, 5, 6, 7 years, right, of learning Ableton. And it's possible to learn Ableton, guys. If you want to get into it, you can do that. Just jump right in. You see a lot of episodes here on the Worship Keys where we show Ableton. We even have an episode on how to use Ableton in a live worship scenario with Zane Steffen. You can find that episode. But Ableton's great. There's different tools to use. Ableton's just another tool, just like a different type of keyboard or a patch you might use. It's just a different. But Ableton's a very popular top of the line tool for both sound design and tracks world simultaneously too, which is amazing. So if you want to take your keys to the next level, I feel like Ableton is that move.
And if you don't mind me adding to that, like, what's cool about Ableton, I feel like from my perspective, it's as simple or as complicated as you want it to be.
Right.
Again, like when I started doing tracks, I would do session view. I would just drag my tracks, and it was just you press play and the song finishes. If you mess up, you just fade it out and like you don't do anything with it. But you can do from just that to like running lyrics, running like lights all through Ableton. Even changing patches to your guitar players, to like your keys players.
Crazy, man.
Which is something I don't really know how. I know you can do it. I'm not very familiar with it, but it's as simple or as hard as you want it to make it.
Absolutely.
I think that's the beautiful thing about Ableton,
100%.
that you can start really simple, but as you dig into it and you learn, you can do all sort of crazy things with it.
100%. And so typically you're playing on a Nord. What Nord piano is your preference? Which one do you play on?
I mean, mostly I use the Stage 4.
Stage 4.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, dude.
I'm spoiled. I have my chairs.
Fancy over
Yeah,
there.
Sadly, it broke right now. It's broken.
No.
She got hurt.
Oh no, going too hard.
Yeah, so we're using a Piano 6 at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And what's your favorite thing about the Nord?
The Nord, it's just the sound that it has. Like, well, first of all, the response of the keys.
The key bed is amazing.
Man, there's no other key that feels like the Nord, in my opinion. And then their piano sounds are just so like pure. I don't know. They sound very like they're very solid piano sounds.
Right.
Compared to some other VSTs that I have or that I've used. I just think the Nords is just like so versatile. Like you can do so many things with them. And like, I mean, the Nords are really expensive, but once you have them, you have access to all their sound libraries.
Yes, sir.
So I think that's also something really cool that like, if you hear something at a church that you like how they sound, if they're using a Nord, you can sound just like them.
Right.
You don't have to go buy anything extra. If you have the Nord, you can sound exactly like they sound.
What are your favorite VSTs?
Keyscape and Omnisphere are probably the ones that I use the most.
We want to hear some of that from Keyscape Omnisphere World within your session, and we'd love to hear about Tracks World. Tell us a little bit about your workflow. What's your normal keys rig?
So I use the Nord by itself. I don't run it through my computer. It just goes straight to front of house. It's one less thing to worry about for me.
Right.
And then on my tracks, I have my computer or the church computer. And then we'll do a specific way of like we cut the tracks in a specific way. So then we just export it into the computer that we're running it. Yeah. And then that simultaneously pairs up with an APC40 MK2 MIDI controller that we have. And from there, we can control everything that it's going on in the session. Perfect. It's systematic, so we have 3 campuses, so all campuses run the same play, and it's done like that on purpose.
And how much is that MIDI controller, by the way?
It's about $400 or $500. $400
or $500. Okay.
But again, like that's designed for what we had.
Right.
So it's not necessarily what you have to use or like what you guys have to use. I always say you can do. You have to do something that works for your church and the equipment that you have.
Absolutely.
If I didn't have that, I would make it even to like work with the keyboard of the computer.
Absolutely.
Which in fact, everything that's like mapped out to the MIDI controller, it's mapped out to my keyboard as a fail safe.
That's good.
In case like the MIDI controller ever fails, there's in my key, there's always like a command that I can quickly access it.
I love that.
Just to be sure,
the redundancy. You can never be more.
You never know because technology is great until it fails.
Right.
So there's always gotta be a plan B.
Yes.
And again, like, we use Ableton as a tool. It's not like we don't rely on it 100%.
For sure.
If it fails, we can ditch it and like continue. We have metronomes and things like that ready to go to make sure that like we're not fully relying on Ableton.
Absolutely. What are some of your favorite worship songs right now? Just in general, and then also some of your favorite ones to play right now.
Ooh, that's a great question.
I loved your the Who Else? It's just amazing song.
Who Else is good? We've been playing it a lot at church. At our church, what's the name of this? Oh, You Praise.
Okay.
That's why oh you praise. Yes, that one. Oh, You Praise.
Okay.
And then we do a lot of original songs.
Awesome.
I'm blessed enough to be at a house that encourages creativity.
That's great.
So we do a lot of writing. And we have a few released and unreleased songs that our churches loves.
That's awesome, bro.
And
you did some writing with SEU during your time there.
Yeah, a little bit of co-writing.
Talk about that, man.
So the way SEU Worship works, they do songwriting camps.
Okay.
So they put different students in different rooms, and they stir creativity.
Yeah, man.
And I was blessed enough to be part of a few of those rooms. I mean, I'm not like a main writer or anything. Like I'm just like I was just happy to be there. Right. But yeah, and that was really cool experiences. They've helped me a lot for what I'm doing right now. And then at my church now, I'm able to like write a lot more frequently with like really great writers as well.
That's great, bro. Are you, when you're writing, are you mainly there for producer hat chords lyrics, or are you doing like melodies? What's your role? Are you kind of anything and everything, or are you one specific thing when you're writing?
So the way we do writing at my church right now, we don't really have a producer role in the room. We just kind of all come together. So in that specific atmosphere, like we're all a little bit of everything.
Sweet, man.
I mean, I tend to be behind the piano and like calling chords.
Sure.
But I mean, if you guys have ever written a song, you know, like the chords that you choose in the writing moment is not necessarily what's gonna happen.
Right.
So I just try to be there to like hopefully do something on the piano that will like spark something in somebody else.
Yes.
'Cause I don't think lyrics are my like strength.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I do give ideas, obviously, and then they have to correct my English because sometimes I do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And like that's not how you say it, bro. I'm sorry, but I try. You know, I try. And I mean, the beautiful thing about songwriting, which it's something that you learn the more you do it, you're not gonna finish the song in the first session or like something you do.
Right.
Sometimes you write a song in 5 minutes.
Sure.
There's songs that take months. Like you like the chorus, but you wrote a verse that you're not really happy with.
For sure.
So then you like go and revisit it, and then like you revisit it again, and then like you're still not happy. Then you ditch the song for another few months.
Yeah.
And you come back to it, or sometimes you share with somebody else to get like a fresh pair of eyes. Absolutely. Or like ears into what you did. For sure. And I mean, collaboration is always like the best tool that you can can have for anything.
100%, man. So we're about to see you play and hear all things tracks, all things sound design. But tell us a little bit about what computer are you using? Some people are really interested in what's the CPU, what are all the specs of your computer?
So
what are
I'm
you
not
using?
Super tech savvy. Is that what you say? Tech savvy? It's an M3 Max.
Awesome.
It's a MacBook Pro that was provided to me by the church I worked at.
Perfect.
And
M3 chips, man, they can handle
they
4K
fly,
editing.
bro.
It's
fly.
insane.
It's crazy.
What year is that thing? It's a few years old, right?
I think it's like a year old.
Oh wow,
yeah,
a year old.
Yeah,
just as old as your son.
Yeah, basically. They were born at the same time.
Very cool, man. Any encouraging words to beginner keys players who maybe your younger self before you even got to college? What are some encouraging words you'd give yourself, man?
Just be confident. Like, don't be scared to fail. Like, don't be scared to mess up. Nobody's perfect, and if they tell you they are, they're lying.
Right.
I mean, it's a struggle, but like having confidence in yourself. I mean, I'm preaching to myself here, but just like be confident what you're doing. Accept that you don't know everything, and also accept that there's different styles of worship. Like, obviously, like I don't have these crazy chops and stuff like that, but because realistically, I don't need it for where I am right now.
Absolutely.
And you need to have everything in the spectrum from like super classic music to like crazy gospel. Everything's needed, and just do whatever fits your church and whatever style fits you the best.
Good,
dig into it, and don't compare yourself to like, oh, but like that other person does like these crazy runs that I cannot do. If you want to do them, practice them, and eventually get to them. But like, don't tear yourself down for like not being able to do it. Give yourself grace. Practice. Some people picks up things really quick. Some people take way longer. So like what it took me 7 years, somebody can do it in a year and a half.
Absolutely.
And to somebody else, it might take 20 years.
For sure.
But like everyone has their own journey. Just be grateful, be gracious with yourself, and again, keep Jesus at the center. Because like at the end of the day, he doesn't care if you do a crazy diminished chord or like you do like a simple major chord. He cares about your heart, and as long as that's in check, like that's all is needed.
Come on, bro. You're preaching now. Yeah, man. You're not even the youth pastor. Anthony's over there. Anthony's the youth pastor, but you're over here preaching, man. Right. Yes, sir. Well, that's awesome.
Hey, guys. So this is just a quick run-through of how I do Ableton on Sundays. This is the workflow that we have at the church I work at, Abundant Church. It's a system that we created that works for us. But anything that you can pick from here, you can apply it in your own way to your own sessions. If any, I'm going to go in depth into how I cut the songs, explain how do we make it work for live. So when you're playing live, you can like easily navigate through different song sections, because ultimately Ableton is a tool that we use. It's like another instrument. It needs to be able to follow us rather than us follow Ableton. So I'm just gonna show you guys how to do that real quick. So this is a quick view of my session. As you can see, I have a lot of things going on right here. I have a stop, next song, loop clicks, loop pads, locators, click, tempo, guide, and I'll show you guys what all that means in a second. But the quick overview here, I have all the 4 songs that I would do on a Sunday. In this case, starting with Again and Again, which is an original song of Abundant Worship. You have all the sessions, all the sections of the song right here, and then if you press play, you hear the click. I'm not getting this off. Sorry, so that's why we're not getting audio. And that's what the song sounds like. If you open the group, you can see all the different things that we have going on. The way we upload songs into Ableton, it's by leaving all the instruments, even the ones that we have on stage, and we just mute them in case we need to reference them during rehearsal or anything like that. It's very easy to just turn on, and all of a sudden now you can hear the drums. I can turn them off. I can hear the bass if I want to. My guitars that I have on right now, because this Sunday we didn't have a guitar player, so Ableton came in clutch. But yeah, it's very flexible. And again, it can look overwhelming, but I walk you guys step by step into how to get this. Then yeah, you have another song, Holy Forever, and as you can see, the timeline goes, and you have all the songs not necessarily together, because this is how the template is built, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. But yeah, so you have 4 songs, and then if you keep walking, you have space for another song, and then here I have a bunch of pads. This is how we do drone pads at our church. The reason you just go to any pad you want for any key, and you press play, and it's just a simple pad. But anyway, so yeah, it's a simple pad. We have it, and there's no click or anything, because at our church we're able to run during flow moments. We have a metronome coming out of the drummer, so the drummer is the one in charge of pulling the metronome. But you guys are gonna see like that's gonna loop. So it's a short session. It's a short section. Sorry, I'll do that again. So it's a short section of the pad, but this little trigger right here is the one that makes sure it loops back to the beginning. And I have one for every key, and I have access with my MIDI controller that I don't have right here. But anything that you see in this session, I have access with my keys on my computer, in case my MIDI controller fails, or in case you don't have a MIDI controller. Ableton has this key function right here that you can basically map anything to anything that you see on your computer, which is great, because sometimes you don't have access to a MIDI controller, and that's a beautiful thing that Ableton gives you. So as you can see, I have all my keys. So if I press C, it goes to the key of C. If I press capital C, it goes to C sharp. That makes sense to me. I don't know if it does to you, but that's how it works in my brain. D goes to D, capital D goes to D sharp, E, etc., and all the keys. And then this little command just like loops my pad back to this little flag right here. So this, when I press a key, I press G, it goes to G. I press play, it fades it in, and then when it gets to the back, it loops to the very beginning, past the fade in. That way you don't hear the fade in over and over again. So that's how we do pads at our church. As you can tell, I have a bunch of little flags at the top. They're called markers, and they're like associated with different sections of the song. Where do we have that? Well, that's to easily navigate through different sections. So let's say we're doing this pre-chorus of Holy Forever. And then at the end, the worship leader wants to redo it. So I just have to trigger this flag right here. And it goes back to it. There's a few extra steps that I have, like with my MIDI controller, I would mute the guide. Let's say we're playing it and my worship leader calls for it. So I would mute the guide to avoid the link, and then I would just trigger the previous flag. And obviously that transition sounds a little wonky, but with a full band, I promise you, nobody noticed. The idea is to have Ableton do the same section. And once you're back into the section, you just put the track again. Um, so yeah, so the way I move through markers is with these little things right here. As you can tell, these little arrows, you can map them to whatever you want. I can map them right now to, let's say, for the sake of an example, I put the previous one, I put K, and for the forward, I put L. And now if I play that in my computer, you see, it moves between the markers. And then Ableton has this function right here to move in between bars. You can set it to none, 8 bars, 4 bars, 2 bars, whatever you want it. I have it set to 1 bar. That way, basically all that does is like these little boxes right here, that's each bar of the song. So when I press play, Ableton's gonna wait until the end of that bar to retrigger that section. So if I go right here, I'm gonna wait past this little box. I'm gonna press previous, and it's gonna retrigger at the end of the bar. And I can do that at any point that I want. Ableton always gonna wait until the end of the bar to retrigger. If I were to put 2 bars, it would wait for 2 bars. Pretty simple. Now, like I said, this looks very overwhelming. So I'll walk you guys how to achieve all this. So I'm gonna pull up a song from scratch and show you guys my process of cutting a song and getting it ready for my template. So I'm gonna pull a song from our church. I'm gonna put this. It's called "Being Thrown," and I'm gonna put the original tracks. This is what you would buy in multi-tracks or anywhere that you get your tracks. If you build your own tracks, that's great. You just open the session. And this is usually what you get from multi-tracks when you buy the tracks. You get all these tracks, individual, and these little sections come already with what you buy. Okay, so as you can tell here, you have what you buy with these markers. The first thing I would do is group all my instrument channels. So I put Command G, and that group them. If you don't want to learn the key commands, that's okay. You can just select all of them. Do the double click, the 2-finger click. I don't know how you call that. And then you here and you go to group tracks. You select it and it groups them. What I do, I name them by the name of the song, which in this case is Be Enthroned. And then I put the key, which I believe is D. Let me double check. Yeah, it's key of D. That way I know when I pull into my main template, I always know which key I'm working with. So if I had to transpose or something, I always have my reference. I like to color code things, so I put it purple because it's the way I format things, but you can use whatever color you want. The next thing I do, and this is like a way that I saw from studio to stage do this, and I think it's wonderful. The way he formats his stuff, it's by instead of when you pull him to your Sunday rig, instead of changing each individual instrument track to the outs that you have in your interface, you do like an aux bus, and then you pre-format it to send it to there. So on Sunday, I only have to change my buses. I don't have to go individually to every instrument and change it. So that's a game changer, especially at our church. We're blessed to have multiple outs for our tracks. If you only have like 1 and 2 or 3 or 4, like that's okay. So it makes it easy. But if you have multiple outs, doing it this way helps a lot, in my opinion. So I just create what Ableton calls return tracks. So I create 5 of those because that's how many outputs we have on my church. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'll name them. In this case, in my church, this is how we do it. Again, you can do this however you want or however you guys do it at your church. A is for loops. So there we send all percussions, synth bass. Usually we send it there if we keep it in the tracks. Effects, anything that it's like not really like an instrument, but more like anything that adds movement to the song with having like pitch references and stuff. We put it there. Then our B is what we call solo channel, which is basically anything that makes a song sound like a song. So those like cool effects or like synth arps that you cannot really replicate on stage because you don't have the keys 2-player that would do it or something. So we put it there. Is what makes a song feel like the song it's complete. For C, we do all our keys, and we call it sequence. I don't know if I spelled that right. So hopefully I did. And then for D, we do Vox, which is usually like choirs. Some tracks bring BGVs and choir. We explicitly only use choir stems because we have BGVs on stage, but we don't have a choir on stage. So anything that's like gang vocals, we keep it in this channel. If it's like a tenor or an alto or something like that, we don't leave it in the tracks. We take it off. And then in the E, we call this AI, which is like an inside joke, but it stands for Ableton instrument. Basically, there we send anything that you would usually play live, but you don't have. For example, this past Sunday, we didn't have a guitar player, so all our guitar electric stems, we send them to AI. If we were to have an electric player, then we put there like the organ or something like that. Or sometimes empty. You don't have to use it simply because you have it. So once I have this formatted, I go to my groups and my instruments, and I start sending them to the buses based on what I said that we use. So my A is my loops. So all my loops I'm gonna send there. All my guitars, in this case, I'm just gonna send them to E, but I'm gonna pretend that we have them, so I'll turn them off later. All my keys goes to my sequence, which is C, and then my vocals to D. Now I didn't send anything to B because in this case I haven't heard the song to know what it goes. So I'm doing this as like this is a new song that we haven't played at our church, so I don't really know. So my next step will go to listen to the song and look for something that makes the song that particular song that I'm looking for to send to solo. Sorry, that was really loud. So I don't really hear anything in this song. And again, like you don't have to send anything if you don't have to. Again, like Ableton is a tool that we use. Just because you're using it, I mean you have to use it. It's okay to not send anything for a particular song and just send a pad if the song calls for it. So in this case, I'm gonna leave it empty. And the next thing I would do is mix it. So I know I'm not gonna be using the drums, so I'm gonna turn them off. I'm not gonna be using the bass, so I'm gonna take it off. No acoustic guitar. All my electrics, I'm gonna turn them off. My piano, I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna leave that piano there. And my choirs, like I said, I'm gonna leave it on. And my BGVs, I'm gonna take them off. So this is what we will use at our church. As you can tell, the song originally comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a bunch of tracks, but we're only using 4. Because again, like we want to use this as a tool. We're not relying on this heavily. And yes, maybe in service I can like turn on this guitar if we don't have an EG2 player, just to get those chunky chords in there. But and let the guitar one feel free to like do more like lead stuff and have a little more fun and not worry too much about holding the bed of the song. But once I have that done, I'm gonna create an audio track between my click and my guide. That's very simple. I just do the double click and I put insert audio track. That's the purpose of that track. It's simply to give Ableton a tempo track. Like tell Ableton what tempo we're doing the song. You can automate the tempo, but I don't like to do that because it's an extra step that adds to my workflow and I don't like it. The cool thing about this way of formatting songs is like once you save it, all you have to do is drag it into your template and it's ready to go. All the buses, all the assigning the buses and all that stuff, it gets done. Like you don't have to do it every time you put the song into Ableton. Once you do it, like you do it once and you're done for the rest of your life. You don't have to touch it again. So since I don't want to automate tempo later on, I just create this tempo channel and I tell Ableton that every time it's going through in the space of this song, it has to follow this tempo. That way I don't have to automate it later. That's very easy. You just have to like insert any sort of empty audio channel In this case, I have a bunch of them ready to go. But again, you can just like create your own, like just record something that has nothing in it, and then just put the tempo I'm gonna show you, and it will like follow the tempo. So I'm gonna go here into tempo. In this case, right here, you see this song is like 69 BPM. I'm gonna grab my 69, put it right here, expand it, and then I'm gonna double click on it. And as you can tell down here, I get this menu, and where it says follow, I'm gonna click on it, and now it says lead. And as you can tell up here, it changed to 65.70. But when I click it, it goes to whatever tempo this is telling Ableton to go to. In this case, it's 69. So now that I have that, every time I pull this song into my Ableton's tempo automatically is going to change to 69. That way, when you warp stuff, you don't have to worry about like things getting out of like control or anything. Like it will always follow that tempo. As long as the follow and the lead thing, it's activated. The last thing I do, I pull up this little locator manager. It's a Max for Life device that I bought of a guy on YouTube. It was like $8. This thing is the greatest invention ever done by men. All I have to do is double click this thing. And as you can tell, it gives me a locator manager. I hit show. And it shows me all the locators that I have like right here, all the markers. You see verse, chorus, verse 3, whatever. If I hit right here, create clips from locators, it creates like empty clips with the names of those markers. And man, that when you're doing this live, because again, like these markers are embedded into this session. So when I pull out my template, those won't be there. So I would have to create those markers and like rename them one by one. With this thing, I just leave it there and I visually know which section I'm going without having to do all the extra work of like renaming stuff. So just leave it like that. Again, like I'm gonna color code things because I like it. And once I have it like this, I'm gonna hit save live set as. And then in this case, we call at our church we put it AV, which stands for arrangement view. So I'm just going to put that right here. And then you're just going to save it whatever you want to save. I'm going to put it in my desktop. Right here. Save. And then if I go to my template, open recent. I'm going to import it, and you're going to see how everything that we just did is going to come. It's going to translate perfectly into this new template. So I'm going to go find the file I just did is right here. And this I'm going to drag right here. As you can tell, it drags it, and it's formatted with the same colors and everything that I just did in the previous session. When you drag something into Ableton arrangement view, it automatically drags it all the way to the left. There's no way around this. Don't think you broke it. Don't think like you did something wrong. Automatically it does that. Like it just puts it all the way to the left. All you have to do is cut it. So you select all of them. And you can press Command X. And you can see like they disappear. Don't worry about it. They're still there. Command X is like copy and paste. But it's not really like you're copying it, but at the same time deleting it. So you copy it while this and they disappear, but technically they're still copied. So when I go here and I press Command V, there you go. They all reappear. Last step that I do is move this to the predetermined slot on my template. And the reason why I do this is because I want all my clicks and all my guides to be within the same channel strip. So like if I ever mute my guide, it's one mute button. I don't have to do 4 mute buttons for 4 different guides. My guides and my clicks and my tempos are always in the same channel. So I can delete these ones. And now this song is ready to go. So if I go to this other view, you see that all that we did previously, like all this sending to the buses, are like translate to this format already. It's game changer because you only have to do it once. You do all the work up front, and then when you're creating sessions for Sunday, you just drag songs. So like even if like in a live content, like during the message, your pastor is like, "Oh, can we do this song?" And you didn't really have it in your tracks. All you have to do is drag it, put it where it belongs, and it's ready to go. You don't have to do any mixing. You don't have to do any muting. It's already ready to go. And like I was saying earlier, all these things right here is what I change when I go into my interface. So if you can see here, my songs are sending the audio to sends only. That means all the audio is routed to these 5, and I just have to change these 5 channels. So I don't have to worry about going and changing every instrument one by one for each song. That's too much, way too much work. So I just do it once, and then when I get to my church on Sunday, I just change these 5, and I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. And like I told you guys, when you press play in this song,
verse 1,
the tempo is like following this tempo channel. So I don't have to worry about automating because I'm lazy. Now, as you can tell, the markers are missing. So the locator manager, it's very handy for that. I just open it again, and now I do the opposite thing. Now, I know this plugin, I mean, it's $8, $10, something like that. It's really cheap. But let's say you don't want to buy it because you don't have the money, or you simply don't want to buy it. There's a workaround about it. It takes a few extra seconds, but you can just, right here, this button says delete, or if I press this section, it says set. If I hit set, it will create a marker for me. So if you want to do the locator manager, because you don't want to pay for it, then you can just hit each section and then just hit set. If you want to make it faster, you can program that button to any key in your computer. In this case, I'm going to do M for marker. And when I go there, you're just going to see, like, I'm just going to press M, and it's going to create the marker for me. So I just can go for each section and create every single marker. Remember that the markers are the things that will allow me to move in between sections. Without the markers, I cannot do the triggering while I'm playing live. So it's very important, if you want to do that, to have the markers ready to go. Otherwise, it's going to get chaotic real quick, which is it has happened to me, in case you were wondering. So once I have my marker, my song is done, and all I have to do is press play. And again, like, I can move in between markers with L or K, or whatever key MIDI controller thing that you want. Another thing I have on this session, my template, is like this like loop things right here. I call them MIDI triggers. You can call them however you want, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna call them MIDI triggers. So I have a bunch of MIDI triggers that are basically just like single MIDI notes that tell Ableton to do certain things. So for example, for transitions, sometimes while I'm playing, if we're crashing out, I don't want to do the extra step of like stopping tracks, selecting the next song, and then pressing play. So all I have to do, I have these pre-map things right here at the very beginning. I'll close this. And all I have to do is copy and paste. So these are pre-mapped. And I can show you how to map something. It's really quick and easy. But basically all this does is like it tells Ableton to go to the next song. So if I put this right here and I press play, it should trigger the next section. And as you can tell, it didn't, which is great. I'm going to show you how to do it. So it works perfectly. So basically what I want this note to do is trigger this marker right here to start song 2. So all I have to do is press play. And while before it gets there, I just want to select the marker that I want that to be triggered. And as you saw, it detected the note into that marker. So now when it goes through that note again, it triggers the marker
1,
and it goes to the next song.
2.
So it's basically like playing a MIDI note on my piano, but I'm doing it into Ableton. Now, how does this work? I'm not sure about Windows, but every Mac computer has something called IAC driver. You do that, you can get to it by going to MIDI audio setup. And then in window, show MIDI studio. And here you can see your IAC driver. That thing is basically like a MIDI cable inside your computer. I don't really know the technical terms for it, but it's basically like Ableton sending a MIDI signal to the computer and then send it back to Ableton. So it's like I call it like a MIDI cable that communicates within the computer. If you activate it, you just have to hit devices online, make sure this is on, one time in your life. You can buy your computer, activate it, and you don't have to worry ever again about it. And then if you go to this MIDI right here, you just make sure that it's remote is selected, and in the out, the track is selected. If you do that, it will work 100% of the time. There's no failure as long as you do that. So now I can make transitions happen automatically. So if I'm playing, this will like work by itself. And that's how I do transitions on my church. So that's one trigger that I use to transition, but you can get so creative. Basically anything that you can think of for Ableton to do, you can do it as long as like you assign a MIDI note to whatever thing you wanted to do. You can do one of these MIDI notes to trigger a chorus or a pre-chorus or a bridge or the chorus of 2 songs ahead of the steady if you want to do that for some reason. Basically anything that you can think of, as long as you use these MIDI triggers or an actual manual trigger, you can use it by creating like a MIDI clip. It's super easy. Like you just like put a random note in it, and then you just put hit MIDI, and once it goes through the note, whatever thing that you selected for it to activate, it will do it for you automatically 100% of the time. So once I have my set, all I have left is really to play. Again, like in this case, I don't have my Nord with me, which is what I would usually use. It's a great thing to talk about because like sometimes you don't have the equipment that you're comfortable with and you have to improvise or something. For example, the youth camp that we just had this week that we were talking about earlier, I didn't have access to what I usually play. And obviously like you feel your comfort zone, but at that moment you have to improvise and you have to do something that you're somewhat familiar with and still get the job done. So for that, I use VSTs. So I'm fortunate enough to have some really great VSTs, but which in this case I'm using Keyscape and Contact A. I'm using the double fill. And then I'm also using the LA Custom C7 grand piano and the Giant. So again, like these are more on the expensive side, but basically the reason why I'm using these VSTs, specifically these 3 stacked to each other, it's for the specific sound that I'm using. So my felt piano, it's giving me like that warmth of the piano. Then the Giant is giving me like the top end, like really like punchy, high pitched sounds. And then my LA grand is kind of like the glue in between those 2. So I don't have my Nord with me, but this is what I'm using. And again, these are very fancy, but if I didn't have this, I would find sounds that would give me that specific tone. So I would find something to give me a little bit of warmth to get that like nice low end robust sound. Then something like to cut through the mix, something like a high pitch within pianos. Like it could be maybe an EQ or like a different, like maybe an upright piano. And then something more like flat to like glue between the 2. So like it sounds nice and full. And then you achieve a really nice sound. So if you can tell, like the piano like moves with me into what I'm doing. If I go high, it cuts through. If I stay low, it still's like really warm and like soft, gentle. But like if I were to dig in, you still like it doesn't get muddy. And if I go back down, like it's still it comes with me to when I play hard, and it comes like with me when I play soft. Even with my Nords, like with the Nord, not mine, with the Nord that I play with, I try to find a sound that's like warm and another one that cuts through. So as I move through the piano and as I walk through my different dynamics, I'm able to provide a good body, but I'm also like cutting through the mix and making my front of house engineer's life easier, and they'll thank you for it. Because sometimes like we put like this one sound and it sounds like super like muddy and like ugly, and like you go up there and like it still sounds muddy and it doesn't like. So you want to think of like how, as a piano player, how can I like glue the band together? Because you have these guitars doing like this really crazy lead lines, and like bass is like keeping it in the low frequency. So you want to stay in the middle, but still cutting through, because you want where you're playing to be heard. So you do that by like finding sounds that would allow you to keep the bed of the song there, but also being able to like move out of that whenever it's needed to play a certain line, or to just add some embellishments that like you want in there. I don't know if that's helpful to anybody out there. So in this case, I'm not really using pads underneath my piano. I'm just using piano. Because I personally don't like to use pads a lot, because I feel like when I'm playing behind a pastor or something, it kind of gets in the way. That's just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with it. So I usually like to have a drone pad underneath me, and then I just kind of like go, and like especially when like I'm there, if I'm in between a song, there's other instruments filling up the space. But if it's just me, I'm also like I'm comfortable with silence. Like if I play a chord and it kind of dies because there's a pad going, I'm okay with that. Like I don't feel like I have to fill in the blanks all the time. Especially because like if a pastor's talking, I don't want to be distracting. I don't want to get in the way of what he's saying. I don't want people's attention to be fixed on me rather than what he's preaching or praying about. So I usually, when after worship, when it's just me, or like after the message when it's just me, I would just like let a pad like carry like that silence, and then I'll just play on top of that. Usually, I don't like to follow a structure. I kind of just do random things until it's time for a click to come in. Once the click come in, I usually just like switch to like a chord structure, so if the band joins, they can follow me. But if it's just me and like I know nobody's gonna come in, whatever chord you feel like in your heart, man. No tempo. You can switch from 6/8 to 4/4 to 12/8 to 5/4, like whatever it is. Like just I think a beautiful thing as piano players is like knowing how to minister from an instrument. So if there's a pastor talking, it's really cool to not focus so much on what you're doing, but kind of like following them to where they want to take the room. So if they're praying and they're like getting excited, so you can like build with them, they bring it back down. Like you do that by leaving more space, playing less busy. And I don't know, I feel like even though like they're preaching or praying and you're just playing like random stuff, I feel like the Lord can still use that to help what he's doing, or even like touch somebody's life. You know, like you never know who's listening to what you're playing, and if you let the Holy Spirit use you, I believe that he can truly like use random things that you're playing, which to us might sound random, but like I think if you put your heart into it, there's purpose behind it, you know. So this is what it would sound like.
Guys, thank y'all so much for watching this whole episode. If you made it to the end, you are doing great. Congratulations, because most people don't make it to the end. So
Shame.
Way to make it to the end. Andres, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been an honor, truly.
I can't believe this worked out. So thankful. You have such crazy good talent on the know-how with Ableton and the keys world.
Yeah.
And I know you love the Lord, and just congrats again, you and your wife, baby, all that might happen in the future. But thank you for sharing with us here on the Worship Keys community. If you enjoyed it, guys, let us know in the comments. Also, you can connect with Andres on IG, good old Instagram. It's Andrés Páez is your account, but with a double E.
In Páez, yes, sir.
Okay, Páez.
Yes, sir. Páez is right.
Páez. Andres, thank you again, man.
Thank you, man.
All the way from Spain to Denmark to Florida to now Texas.
Yeah.
Man, who knows where the journey will end up and where you'll be next in future years. But so thankful that you made the stop here in old Nashville, Tennessee.
Beautiful Nashville, man.
Man, you love it. I guess, you and Anthony are here. And guys, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know. And if you have any future recommendations for who to have on the podcast, let us know. But Andres, thanks so much. And guys, we'll see y'all next week.